Howdy, partners of the pixelated plains. Cowboy Coder here, welcoming y'all to another episode of Coding Chronicles. Now, every coder knows that the vast landscape of software is like the Wild West. We've got our lassos of logic, test-driven development, and version control as our trusty steeds. These ain't just fancy words. They're the bread and butter of making solid code, and that stands tall like a cactus in the desert. But what happens when we get a little too cocky, skip a step, or look away at the wrong moment? Partners, that's when things can go south quicker than when a corpulent rabbit gets chased by a wily coyote. Mistakes, big or small, can lead to consequences that ripple across the digital frontier, affecting lives and livelihoods. In our beloved series, Coding Chronicles, we delve deep into these tales, not to mock, but to learn. Because remember, it ain't about never falling off the horse. It's about getting back up, dusting off your boots, and learning for the next ride. So saddle up. Fill up your mugs with some strong coffee, or code juice as I like to call it, and let's dive into some of the most legendary software errors of all time. More legendary than the time Pecos Bill realized he could lasso that consarned tornado. Yeehaw! That thing was really taking out some trees. Talk about digging in the debug logs. Number 10, the Windows 10 October 2018 update. Lean in, partners, and let's rustle up a more recent yarn from the digital frontier. Now, Windows 10, that modern-day stagecoach of the computing world, rolled out its October 2018 update with high hopes. The townsfolk were excited, expecting fresh paint and new tools, but as the sun set on some users' data, a ghostly wind blew through. Files, precious memories, and documents vanished quicker than a tumbleweed in a dust storm. Turned out a pesky software glitch played the role of sneaky outlaw, robbing folks of their treasures. Microsoft had to rein in the update, making sure no more folks got caught in the crossfire. A stark reminder, even in our modern tech saloons, spilled drink or bug can start a ruckus. Number 9, the Patriot missile system failure. Gather round, buckaroos, as we ride back to a stormy night in 1991. Picture this, the Gulf War is raging, and the Patriot missile, the trusted sidearm of the U.S. military, is deployed to protect the folks. Now this ain't no toy gun. It was designed to lock onto Iraqi Scud missiles like a hawk on a rabbit as they were coming down on the American troops. But when the decisive defensive moment came, a software snake slithered in. A time-telling glitch made our hawk blind as a bat, causing a deadly delay. The result? A Scud missile struck an American Army barracks, killing 28 soldiers and injuring around 100 other people. This tale is a somber reminder that in the cold and Wild West, our code just ain't digital ink. It's the lifeblood of machines we trust with our lives. Code carefully, for every millisecond counts, like every bullet counts. Number 8, the therac 25 radiation overdoses. Now gather round, partners. Let's go back to the mid-'80s and lend an ear to the haunting ballad of the therac 25. This contraption wasn't just any old machine, but a beacon of hope, set to shoot healing rays and beat back the shadow of illness. Designed by Atomic Energy of Canada Limited, it promised precision with computer-controlled radiation doses. But as with any gunslinger's tale, one mistake and you're firing blanks, or worse. An elusive software bug, sneaker than a coyote in the henhouse, caused this contraption to betray its purpose. Instead of gentle rays, it unleashed lethal doses, turning the lifesaver into a reaper. It's a heart-wrenching reminder that in the coding prairies, the stakes ain't just about zeros and ones. It's about the souls who trust in our craft. Ensure your code's true to its aim, or else tragedy may follow. Number 7, the Mars Climate Orbiter. Ever dreamt of riding to the stars and roping in the mysteries of the universe? That was a dream NASA had in 1999 for their steed, the Mars Climate Orbiter. Destined to chart the Martian skies, it was a machine filled with ambition. Even in the vast expanse of space, it's the little things that count. This trusty orbiter got its wires crossed, mixing up the metric and imperial measures. And wouldn't you know it, instead of gracefully gliding around the planet, it went in hotter than old Jimmy Jones' tongue was feeling when he won first place in that Tyler, Texas chili eating contest. No yellow rose was going to ameliorate the tears of his widow when the blood pressure and aneurysm caused his untimely death in that outhouse. That good old Lubbock boy took his final breath at the state fair, burning up on entry. A pricey mix-up that cost a cool $327 million. Number 6, the Knight Capital Group trading glitch. Now huddle close, cowhands, and let me regale you with the Wild West showdown of the stock market. Back in 2012, Knight Capital, a name that rang loud in the trading canyons, was riding high, holding the reins of the Wall Street fierce bulls and bears. They fancied themselves a new software tool, thinking it'd be their ace in the hole. But as the sun rose one fateful day in 2012, instead of blazing new trails, this tool sent them galloping off a cliff. A rogue algorithm, wilder than a Mustang in spring, wreaked havoc, and in just 45 minutes, they lost a staggering $440 million. It's like they went all in on a poker hand, only to find out they were holding nothing but jokers. A tale as old as time. Before you spur your digital horse, make sure it ain't bucking. Number 5, the Heartbleed Bug. Gather close, tech outlaws, and let old Cowboy Coder spin you a tale of the digital desperado that ambushed the cyber frontier back in 2014. The name's Heartbleed. This ain't some lovesick cowboy's ballad. No siree. It's a tale of a sneaky bug in OpenSSL. The very lock and key safeguarding our online treasure troves. Like a bandit in the shadows, this critter could pick the lock and spill secrets across the World Wide Web. Passwords, personal deeds, and even gold, financial data, were ripe for the picking. It served as a rude awakening to many a webmaster. The lesson? Even the sturdiest digital safes need checking, lest some varmint find a way in. Number 4, the NASDAQ Facebook IPO glitch. Alright, tech wranglers, cinch up them saddles, because we're diving into the bustling stock market saloon of the belle of the ball, Facebook, ready for its grand debut with an IPO, poised to make history. The place? NASDAQ, the modern marketplace where electronic bulls and bears dance. But instead of a smooth waltz, it turned into a darn hoedown. A confounded software hiccup, slyer than a card shark with an ace up his sleeve, delayed the big dance. Trades got botched, and money flowed like spilled whiskey. Many a trader was left hollering and hooting, wallets lighter and spirits dour. A glaring reminder that in the fast-paced dance of tech, one misstep can make you tumble off the stage. Number 3, the iPhone Maps Fiasco. Giddy up, gadget wranglers, because we're heading to the bustling town of Apple in 2012. As they unveiled their shiny new iOS 6, they boasted about ditching the old reliable Google Maps for their very own map app. Instead of leading folks to the nearest watering hole, some found themselves in the middle of the Mojave. Landmarks played hide and seek, rivers turned into roads, and some places, they just vanished like ghost towns. Folks were quicker to laugh than cry, sharing their wonky map tales round the campfire of the internet. Apple eventually mended fences, but it was a hooting reminder that even the biggest ranches can have a few stray calves. Number 2, the Arianne 5 rocket explosion. Back in 1996, Europe's space agency, ESA, crafted this majestic beast to be the successor of Ariane 4. With dreams of it ferrying payloads to space, they invested a jaw-dropping $7 billion into its development. Soon, the maiden flight was afoot. All of Techtown gathered, waiting to see the Ariane 5 touch the heavens. But alas, a mere 37 seconds after leaving the ground, the rocket went up in smoke. Why? A tiny software gremlin, a data conversion hiccup, caused it to stray off course. Like a misfired bullet, it self-destructed. A stark reminder for us cowboys and cowgirls of the coding world. Even the mightiest can falter if the details are overlooked. Always double-check your code, lest your rocket becomes a firecracker. Number 1, the Y2K Bug. Let's drop back to a time when the world braced for a digital apocalypse, the dawn of Y2K. The old town clock was a-ticking towards the year 2000, and folks were getting jittery. Why, you ask? Because programmers, in their haste, had been using 2-digit years like 99 instead of 1999. As midnight approached, many feared their gadgets might reckon it was the year 1900 instead. Imagine computers thinking that they'd time traveled to the Wild West. Banks, airlines, hospitals, the whole shebang could have gone haywire. Now, as the first sun of 2000 rose, the bug turned out less menacing than feared. But it sure left a mark, a costly lesson teaching us to always look down the trail, preparing for every twist and turn. Well, there you have it, partners. From rockets to the vast reaches of cyberspace, these tales are a testament to the importance of sturdy code. As the sun sets on our digital tales, we're reminded that, like a cowboy's trusty lasso, code binds our world together. And just as frayed rope can lead to a bucked bronco, a bug can bring the whole system to its knees. It ain't all doom and gloom, though. Even the toughest cowpokes find humor in the storm. Yours truly, Cowboy Coder, penned a little ditty about the most notorious villain of them all. The dreaded null-pointer exception. A nightmare that happens when a code is sloppier than Jimmy Jones' overalls. It's a song filled with woe, wit, and a twangy tune to get your feet tapping. So as we ride into the sunset of this episode, let's celebrate the highs, lows, and the lessons of the coding trail. Keep them codes clean, And always remember to sing your heart out, even in the face of the trickiest bugs. And now, to serenade y'all out, I can't act on this object, it's null. Coming straight to you, something unexpected and it's out of the blue. Stack trace running is about a mile long. Pouring some coffee, gonna make it strong. Long night ahead, digging through the logs. I really got no time for these conference calls. Digging and digging till I see something frightening. Thunder started rumbling and then came the lightning. I see the script at the top of the page. My mind starts racing, that's when I feel the rage. The most dreaded of exceptions that can ever be called. It gives you tons of detail but tells you nothing at all. I see the script at the top of the page. My mind starts racing, that's when I feel the rage. The most dreaded of exceptions that can ever be called. It gives you tons of detail but tells you nothing at all. That rare exception. That rare exception. That rare exception. That rare exception. Looking through life for something to behold. I've gotta be strong and I've gotta be bold. Writing down the details for all to see. When it is released, to start to be free. Something unexpected always comes along. Doesn't mean it's bad and it doesn't mean it's wrong. Not everything can go according to plan. It's really up to us not to understand. Reaching for the stars can be hard when you're making history. It never hurts to have a little mystery. The most dreaded of exceptions that can ever be called. It gives you tons of detail but tells you nothing at all. Reaching for the stars can be hard when you're making history. It never hurts to have a little mystery. The most dreaded of exceptions that can never be called. It gives you tons of detail but tells you nothing at all. That rare exception. 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 It's kind of weird because like the programming language itself, it's just a generic exception. So if you ever pass a null object into like some kind of method, it's going to say, hey, I can't act on this object. It's null. It's known as, it's an error or an exception that gets thrown. And typically what a good programming will capture that and give you like a pretty message. But when you don't code it properly, it'll just bubble it up like that. That rare exception. That rare exception.